In this video, we play 2-5 cash, no limit at the Aria in Vegas. It's a double header as we play 2 short sessions over the weekend. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. It helps the YouTube algorithm, helps us grow our channel. Let's go. In the very first hand of the night, we pick up pocket tens in early position, and there's a straddle on for $10 under the gun. We raise to $30, and the big blind actually 3-bets us to 120. We are about 1K effective, so we go ahead and make the call. The flop comes absolutely glorious. 10 of clubs, 8 of spades, deuce of diamonds. We have top set, and our opponent checks to us. We bet a small sizing of $75 into about 250. Our opponent makes the call, and the turn is a 3 of diamonds. We are obviously going to continue betting here as our opponent checks to us again, and we want to set up a river jam. For this reason, we choose a size of 250, and our opponent makes the call again. When the river comes the deuce of spades and our opponent checks, we only have one move. That is all in for a little bit over pot, 555 into about $900. Our opponent thinks for a little bit and makes the call. We show our hand and win an over 2K pot to begin the night. With some table talk afterwards, I believe our opponent had pocket queens. This makes sense as the only thing that he's really getting beat by here are pocket tens or pocket eights or sometimes pocket kings. He played it well, I played it well, it was just a bit of a cooler. In the next hand we have 10-9 of diamonds and we raise an early position to $20. The big blind makes the call. The flop comes jack of diamonds, 10 of spades, deuce of spades. With the flush draw on board and some straight draws available, we're going to go ahead and size up a bit here, so we bet $30 and the big blind makes the call. The turn is the 9 of hearts. It checks to us again and we now have 2 pair, and we're going to go ahead and bet pot, $100. If our opponent does have king queen, I suppose we will find out right now as I would expect them to raise, but that is not the case as our opponent just makes the call. The river comes the 3 of spades. Obviously, this is quite a bad card as we don't have a single spade, and the flush gets there. Unexpectedly, the big blind actually leads for $175 into about $300. As annoying as this is, we just can't really fold for this price with 2 pair, so we make the call. Thankfully, our opponent was bluffing. He shows ace queen with the queen of spades. They called 2 streets with a gut shot and 2 overs and decided to turn their hand into a bluff on the river. The other players at this table were quite hilarious.
See how dirty he is with the 10-9 combo?
He's blogging about every hand.
He's probably vlogging his buddies right now, showing how he can.
Next up, there are a couple of early position limps for $5, and we raise ace-jack off to $40 on the cutoff. The small blind cold calls and the middle position limper calls as well. The flop comes 10-3-3, 2 spades. When it checks to us, this board shouldn't really hit anyone's range, so we're just going to c-bet. We bet $50 and the middle position player makes a call. The turn is the king of clubs. When it checks to us again, this is just such a good card for our range that I think we can just fire again here and get a fold. If they have a small pair under 10s, it's definitely not a great spot to be in. We bet $200, which is almost a pot-sized bet. Luckily, this does the job as our opponent quickly makes a fold and we scoop. Alright guys, we bought in for $1,000, cashed out for $24.92. Not many hands other than the first couple on the first table I was on. Otherwise, not too much action. I didn't lose any big hands, which is always nice. Very short session. What's going on guys? We are back at the Aria on the weekend. This is our session number 2. Yesterday was Friday, today is Saturday. Didn't have that many hands yesterday, although it was a good night. Tonight, we're gonna have some more hands. Let's go. It's a new day and a new table, but again, we have 10-9 suited, this time of spades. There's an early position open for $15, and we shouldn't normally be doing this all that often, but we decide we want to play, so we put in a 3-bet of $65. The opponent makes the call. The flop comes 9-5-3 rainbow. Our opponent checks, and we could check or bet here, but I like betting more, I think, just so we can protect against overcards, so we bet $60. The opponent makes a call, and the turn is the king of hearts. There's $250 in the pot, and our opponent actually decides to lead for $110. There is now obviously a flush draw on board and an overcard to our 9, but this lead doesn't really make a whole lot of sense ever. We make the call. The river is the queen of diamonds. Our opponent decides he still likes his hand and continues by going all in for $335. This is about 70% pot. As we said, the action here just doesn't really make a whole lot of sense at all. So for this reason, and because I think that our opponent can sometimes be bluffing with a missed flush draw on the turn, we go ahead and make the call. Our opponent shows Jack 10 of diamonds. He decided to lead on a card that was much better for our range on the turn, and then just got there on the river. We could have probably just folded the river, but I mean, if he misses his draw like he could have, he's probably just going to continue and jam anyways. So it is what it is. Could have been right, could have been wrong, whatever.
Definitely didn't put you on that.
Oddly enough, we have pocket 10s in the next hand. The low jack opens for $20, the small blind calls, and we 3-bet in the big blind to $100. Just the low jack makes a call. Unfortunately, we do not flop a set this time, and the flop comes Jack 8-7. Being out of position with 1 over to our pocket 10s, we go ahead and start with a check. Our opponent does not agree and decides to bet $200, or about pot. With the pair in the gut shot, we are going to continue, so we make the call. The turn comes the 8 of spades. The board now pairs and there is a flush draw. We check and our opponent is not slowing down. He bets $450 into about $600. For this price, we cannot continue. We fold. Our opponent ends up showing pocket 7s for a flopped set turned boat. Nice hand. With the WSOP online having ring events basically every month, we decided to invest in an iPad. We can now play our beloved tournaments while playing cash. In this tournament, we are playing a $320 ring event with about 20k for first place. More to come from this later. The next hand is a quick one. We raise pocket jacks in middle position to $20. Just the big blind makes the call off a very short stack of $170. The flop comes 10, 6, 5 rainbow. It checks to us and we bet $30. Our opponent quickly goes all in for $150. We snap call and let's watch a run out. The turn is the queen of spades and the river is the queen of hearts. We really weren't too happy to see the spade come in on the turn, but when our opponent shows ace 10 for flopped top pair, we are good. It's always nice to pick up a quick couple $100 with minimum work. Alright guys, we are in the money, but very short stack. Gonna need a double. Let's go. Big moment. Oh. That goal. 7. We busted and cashed for near the minimum in this one. If you enjoy watching tournaments, be sure to check out my channel because I often live stream them. In one of the last hands of the night, there is an under the gun limp for $5. We raise in the hijack to $25. The cutoff and the limper make the call. The flop comes 8, 5, 3 with 1 heart. When people limp early position and call, it's often a small pair, so obviously that is not going to be good for us on this kind of board where they can often have sets like pocket 3s, pocket 5s, pocket 8s. For this reason, we check and the cutoff also checks. For whatever reason, this elicits a loud come on from the early position player.
Come on!
Is he actually upset that it checked through because he has a good hand, or would he rather just see action? The turn is the 10 of hearts. The limper bets $100. This is an overbet, and with the nut flush draw, we are not going anywhere. We make the call. The cutoff folds, and the river comes the 7 of diamonds. We brick everything, and when our opponent bets $200 or about pot, he makes it pretty easy for us to make the fold. It is not going our way with no limit. Let's switch over to one final hand of PLO. We sit down with $200 with the plan of getting in good and holding and doubling up. We are one step closer when we pick up pocket aces and jack 9 with spades in early position. We raise to $20 and the small blind and the big blind both make the call. The flop comes 9 of diamonds, 7 of diamonds, 3 of spades. There is about $60 in the pot and the big blind decides to lead for $25. With the overpair and a 9 and unblocking diamonds, we decide to repop it and bet $100 or pot. The small blind folds and the big blind is all in for $100 more. We make the call.
Let's run it.
The board runs out 6 of clubs on the turn and 4 of clubs on the river. This is really not a great run out, and we are especially not feeling confident when our opponent announces 2 pair. Our opponent has 9-7 for 2 pair and queen jack, which don't matter. We got it in with aces and hoped for the best, and we were disappointed. We've been mixing in 30 or 40 minutes of PLO at the end of our sessions, so let me know if you enjoy seeing 1 or 2 hands of PLO at the end of these videos. What's up, guys? We are leaving the Aria. We cashed out for about $1,200, so lost almost $800, about $800. Tens did not do us well like they did us well our first session, and that it is what it is. We tried to make up for it with a little bit of PLO at the end of the night there, but we got wrecked there as well. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to like and subscribe. Let's go.